Alright, welcome. So today we have Aphrodite here. She's been requested quite a bit, so let's get right into it. Do want to make a couple points about her abilities that you should probably keep in mind when you go ahead and start building your Aphrodite. The main thing is she's very cooldown reduction reliant, meaning you can only heal one target at a time, and if you want to be really supportish and help out your allies the most, you want to have maybe 30% cooldown reduction at least. So that way you can use your kiss, your one, to switch targets, heal them back up, and as well as lower the cooldown reduction, or lower the cooldown on your ultimate. As it does already lower itself as you level it up, you can also really exploit this fact by going into like 30% cooldown reduction, and that way you can always, use your ultimate against the Ares ultimate, things like that. It's a super strong ultimate. I mean, you're just immune to all damage, and it also removes the crowd control effects once it's activated. It's a really strong ability. And that's pretty much it. As far as what abilities they should level up, first, I feel like it kind of depends on what game mode you're really playing. Now, if you're playing in Siege or Conquest where you're trying to lane, maybe your solo lane, mid lane, something like that, you probably want to prioritize your 3, I would say. I'm no Aphrodite professional, so maybe this is wrong, but I'll say use your 3, that way you can hit the entire creep wave, and as well as heal yourself in case you take aggro's from the creeps, things like that, and as well as after that, you probably want to prioritize your 2, since you can't use your 1 if you're in solo lane that often. The stun duration does not scale, just the movement speed and the jealousy damage increase, which that damage increase is pretty strong, so don't forget to use that. But let's say if you're in arena or assault, something like that, you probably prioritize your 3, your 1, your 2, and then ultimate at all times. So I feel like it really depends on what game mode and what you're trying to do as far as what abilities they should level up first. So enough of that, let's get into actually building for Aphrodite. So with Aphrodite, it's kind of tricky because there's so many different builds you can go into. It really depends on what you're trying to do. You can go like a support Aphrodite, you can go a solo lane Aphrodite, you can go like a mid Aphrodite, you can go just a pure mage burst damage Aphrodite. There's so many different builds you can go for Aphrodite. It just depends on what you're trying to do, so I won't be able to cover everything in this one video. However, I will be able to cover the solo lane build, middle lane build, and a build for arena, and probably touch up on assault. So let's get right into it, starting with the starter items. Now, with starter items, it's pretty much, you don't really go into the, if you're looking to do like a lot of burst damage and you don't care about healing or be support, then you go with the soulstone purple pot start. However, majority of the time for solo lane and middle lane, you're looking to also trying to help out your allies with the heals, the ultimates, things like that, and you're also just looking to out-sustain your opponents since you can heal yourself, and they, majority of the time, they can't. So, that being said, for a starter item, I'd recommend going to the Vampiric Shroud. You can use the start for both solo and the middle lane. So starting with solo lane, let's just go into the Vamp Shroud. For solo lane as well, you might see this, you might start with the Warlock Sash and solo lane. It's really up to you. This item can take quite a while to build into since it's very expensive, but let's just go into something a little bit more, cost efficient. So starting with the Vamp Shroud, next you definitely want to go into your boots. Aphrodite, again, I feel like she's really cooldown reduction reliant, and as long as you're not trying to be like a burst mage, I would just go to the Shoes of Focus, which are the cooldown reduction boots. So after you go into your boots, as far as the solo lane, majority of the time you're fighting a physical god, so after you go into your boots if you're choosing, I'd most likely go into the Breastplate of Valor. The reason being, it gives you that 20% cooldown reduction, the mana to complement that, and the physical protection to ensure that even if the enemy physical jungler ganks you with the enemy physical solo laner, they're not going to be able to kill you because you have heals, you have your ultimate, and you also have physical protection. So I'll go into something like this. Now, after this point, there are numerous different ways you can go into. If you're looking to up your magical power, because it really depends on how much magic power you have, can really enhance the amount of healing you can output. So hopefully that makes sense. So if you're looking to bring up your magical power and as well as have more mana for sustaining yourself, then go to the Book of Thoth. If you're looking to be a little bit more tanky and survive longer, then maybe the Warlock Sash. So personally, I would just go to the Book of Thoth since we only have 50 lousy magical power. And as you can see, this is not totally accurate because I am level 20, which level 20s have a lot of mana. So you're going to see my magical power spike up a lot. So after you go into the Book of Thoth, I would recommend going into the Rod of Asclepius. Now, personally, the reason why I would go to Rod of Asclepius, for one, it's been buffed, I think, a couple times over the past few months. I believe the price has been reduced. The tier 2 also has the Aura effect now, which is also great, so it's easier to build into this item. And as well as the Aura effect, I can't even speak. The Aura effect has actually been increased from 20% to 25%. So let's go into that. Reason being, another reason why I'll go into this is because it kind of counterbalances if you're fighting against a target with the Pestilence item. So if you're not familiar with Pestilence, their effect reduces healing by 25%, the Rod of Asclepius increases yours by 25%, so ideally you kind of break even. But the hard part about right now is that this recording for Season 3, I feel like it's really difficult for healers to actually heal because there's so much anti-healing items. You got the Pestilence 25%, you have the Divine Ruin, which is also 40%, I believe, 40% for 8 seconds, and then you have Brawler's Beat Stick, which is 40% for 8 seconds, and then you have Cursed, which is 65% reduced healing. So healers have a hard time this season, but yeah, so let's go to Rod of Asclepius. And then to really top off your magical power, I would just go to the Rod of Tahuti. As you can see, I have 278 magical power now, and then I would just pick this item up, and then we have 504 magical power with no stacks on Book of Thoth. So you have a good balance of physical protection, you have 30% cooldown reduction, you have tons of mana from both your boots, your breastplate, and all those mana items contributes to more damage from your Book of Thoth because the passive is mana based. You have a little bit of health to complement your protection, so those protections are really useful. And you have the health, and again, you also have the additional movement speed. Now, this movement speed is really good for Rod of Asclepius. Of course, you have your boots, you have the 10% from here, as well as your 1, as long as you latch onto a target, you gain another 20% movement speed. So you're really agile, you can move around, you can stun targets, and it makes you a more evasive target and really a good healer. And then of course the starter item, regardless of what you picked up, you can sell this item for other items that you really want to. Now, the Lotus Crown, typically this is a really good item for healers, obviously, because when you heal your targets, you yourself and your targets that get affected by your heals, they also gain 20 protections for both physical and magical. Now that's really good. But the thing is, you can only apply this to one other target, so it's kind of tricky to get the most benefit from this. However, let's say if you're queued with a really good carry or something like that, or a really good support, like you're queued up with a friend, you can just latch onto your friend and you just really focus on healing him and giving them the most protections. So I probably wouldn't prioritize over Rod of Asclepius personally. So if it goes down to these two items, I would take the Rod of Asclepius anytime. But you can pick this up as a last item. It gives you physical protection, the magical power, and the MP5. MP5, she also gets really good usage out of it because obvious reasons she can heal. But with her passive, when you latch onto a target, you also share a percentage of your mana regen with your ally. So that's pretty much it. I'll probably go into something like this for the solo lane. Let's see if we can sell all of this. No, it just switched it with the build I tested a while ago. But yeah, that build I just did, it doesn't have any penetration. If you do want penetration, I would probably go into the Obsidian Shard if you're looking to do damage. If you're looking to do some damage and also help out your team as a whole, I would go with the Spear of Magus. The reason being is your 3 is a damage over time effect and can easily apply the passive stacks on Spear of Magus, so that way maybe you have a magical jungler or the mage, they can also do more damage to that target. So now let's go into something for a middle lane. It'd be kind of similar story, going to the Vamp Shroud. Again, for middle lane, things are a little bit different. For mid lane, I would go into the Lost Artifact right out of the gate with the Vampiric Shroud, and I would build this into the Chronos Pendant after you go into your boots. So I'll go into boots, go back to Lost Artifact, go into Chronos Pendant, and there you have your 30% cooldown reduction. After this point, I would go into the Book of Thoth looking for that mana and also more magical power. Magical power helps out your heals as well. And then again, I would go into the Rod of Asclepius and then the Rod of Tahuti, and then finish it off. Sell your starter item, and I sell this for like the Lotus Crown. You can also sell, your starter item for something else. Maybe you want some more health, then you can just go into Ethereal Staff or maybe Gem of Isolation. The Gem of Isolation is pretty troll on her, since you can also easily apply it, and the duration, the 2 seconds, keeps refreshing as long as you damage an enemy with your 3. It's pretty cool. And that's pretty much it. If you're looking for damage, then you can just go to like a Soul Reave or something crazy like that. Now, as far as something for an arena things are just a little bit different. As far as starting out, for arena, you just go straight into your cooldown boots. I would go into the Chronos Pendant personally for arena. After this point, you can go into a stack item in arena. I probably wouldn't go into the Warlock Sash because you're sharing the minion waves with all 4 other allies on your team, so it's a little bit harder to get those stacks, and the stacks are more important on Warlock Sash. However, the stacks on Book of Thoth, not too important, and it's only 75 compared to the 100 from Warlock Sash. So I go into the Book of Thoth, And then again, I'll just go into the rod of healing and the rod to Hootie, get both rods. There we go. Finish the item off, and then again, the last item would probably be the Lotus Crown. Now, as far as relics, I would definitely consider picking up Sprint. The reason being, if the enemies are smart, they would go ahead and pick up the curse to counter you. Not only does this item reduce your healing, but also reduces your movement speed. So they can easily chase you down and just kill you to counter that. You go with the sprint. This makes you immune to slows, so it kind of overrides the curse. So I definitely consider picking this item up. And then you can go into other relics that are what you need for a certain situation. Like, if you don't want to depend on your ultimate to be immune to crowd control effects, go into Purification. If not, if you want to be more support, go into Med. You get the point. So that's pretty much it. A little bit longer of a video. As far as like mage build, I would go back. I'll recommend checking out my build playlist and go and look at the Janus build that I did yesterday, as of this recording anyway. And that Janus build covers a lot of bursty mage builds that you can also apply to Aphrodite. So sorry, a little bit longer of a video. I really stumbled on my English today, so that's about it, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Peace.